Hey everybody, the future is now, it's Ed, and we're going to talk about Tesla and autonomy today. So at the autonomy event, Elon and the whole team, at least the team heads, were talking about basically the master plan, and obviously they're talking about initially they wanted to build a sports car. So they used Lotus to build the drivetrain, the chassis and drivetrain, and then they were specifically working on the electrical details and the battery and such. Then comes the Model S, a affordable car, but a high price car nonetheless. And they've been running on that car and using that funds for that car to create the Model 3 or a more affordable car. He said, well, not highly affordable, but more affordable car. And they've reached the Model 3 production of over 5,000 a week. They've also worked on producing the large-scale solar and deploying the solar roofs, as well as deploying the battery projects, which is also added to their revenue, which is important as well. And the goals in 2019 were just to reach the S3 and X production of 10,000 a week and FSD or full self-driving feature complete, which basically means that they have it ready, they have the hardware, the software in the vehicles. That's the big issue there. Not whether the legislators are going to allow it or legal issues when it comes to that. Now in 2020, they're planning on expanding the EV product line with the Model Y and the Semi. So we know the Model Y is going to be released soon. They're already out there testing. And the Semi could be a little bit later down the road in the later parts of 2020. But the biggest part is they want to enable the ROBOTAXI network. And the ROBOTAXI network is what we're going to talk about kind of in detail and basically how they laid it out in the autonomy day, so I can break it down and show you really what they were talking about and how they plan on actually getting this done by the end of 2020. So the bottom line, people use vision to drive. They don't use, like Elon said, laser beams and stuff shooting out of their head. We don't have to drive that way. We drive with vision, so you have to solve the problem with vision. That's the key element. You can't really sidestep that issue. So when it comes to vision, this is how we drive all the time. Essentially, all the signs, everything that we look at on the roads and how we drive is based on vision. So solving the vision problem is the primary thing. When he was talking about LiDAR and other things and radar, these are all backups, if at all, used. So all we have to do is teach the computers, or Tesla needs to teach the computers essentially, how to understand how to see things, to recognize them, process the information, and then make correct decisions. And the cars run in shadow mode, meaning there's like another car, like if anybody's seen GT4, Gran Turismo, and basically you race a lap and then all of a sudden you see your ghost car and then you're racing against your ghost car. It's kind of similar to that, where they have a ghost car that's essentially running sideways doing things, and therefore they can run programs and run things and not injure the person driving. So they're testing on that ghost mode, and they're doing it because they have multiple hardware chips. They have a backup chip to be able to do this. Now, Andre was talking about path prediction, and we have the cameras. They have 8 cameras on the car recording all the time in all directions, something that we can't even do as human beings. We have one set of eyes and a neck that doesn't move that great. So in the first slide of path prediction, you can see the road, you can see the green lines. So it's not really about the lane markings, it's knowing where to drive. What is the drivable space? And Elon reiterated that. And here's a more detailed view where they're showing that it knows how to predict even on really wild curves. It understands how to predict even better than a human could. So essentially all of the cameras are making this 3D reconstruction of the area you're in. So the whole 3D maps it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, okay? Because the cars are basically mapping the area out constantly and then throwing away the data. They're just mapping it out left and right so you can see how that image is kind of how the car sees the environment right now in a 360-degree render. So they reiterated the fact that vision recognition is necessary for autonomy. We have to have it. It's not optional, it's not secondary, it's necessary. The vehicle needs to see what signs are, understand what a bike is, pedestrians, other vehicles. It needs to understand what they are and how to deal with traffic. This is a great slide where it shows the radar as well, the ultrasonics, and it shows the front-facing cameras, which are moving at high speeds. So that's what they said. It's critical that they have the cameras because up front that are really, seeing everything. That's how we look. We're not driving with our eyes in the back of our heads, so to speak. So in this slide, it's basically showing that there is vision from radar as well. We see the cars near us. So the car sees the other cars. And it kind of predicts where they're going as well. So it kind of, it adjusts for that. So what they're basically solving now is the long tail. There's all kinds of crazy things that happen out on the road, and you have to be able to solve for everything. So it's getting down to 99.9999%, where once again you can see all of these different things. You have a standard vehicle, you have a vehicle with stuff on it, you have a car with a bike on it, so you know that that's one object and not two objects. And then also you have cars that are turned over. You even have cars that are in the air in an accident. The vehicle must understand what to do in every situation. So the base summary is this, that they have a massive, large, varied real data. And the variedness of the data is the critical part, that they have all of this real world, not simulated driving data. Every Tesla with the hardware on it, the current hardware, is recording the data, whether you have autopilot on or not. That car is training the fleet. It's training every car. Your car is training every car. That is a massive advantage. Waymo and all these other ones that are doing autonomy, they're not training fleets and they're not building vehicles. That is a critical element here. And they're running in the shadow mode on top of it. So if they're running in the shadow mode, they can do all of this real world work without risking the lives of the people driving the vehicles. Super ingenious. I don't think that point should go unnoticed. That is the most critical element right there, that we're training without having to hurt people. So I wanted to take a clip from Stewart talking about what he does and how he came to Tesla.
Just like a really short introduction on kind of where I'm coming from, what I do. So I've been in a couple companies or less. I've been writing software profession about 12 years. The thing that excites me most and I'm really passionate about is taking the cutting edge of machine learning and actually connecting that with customers through robustness and scale. So at Facebook, I worked initially inside of our ads infrastructure to build some of the machine learning, some really, really smart people. And we actually tried to build that to a single platform that we could then scale to all the other aspects of the business, from how we rank the newsfeed, to how we deliver search results, to how we make every recommendation across the platform. And that became the Applied Machine Learning Group. That's something I'm just incredibly proud of. And a lot of that wasn't just the core algorithms and the really important improvements that happen there, those that matters. A lot of it's actually the engineering practices to build these systems at scale. And the same thing was true at Snap, where I went, where we were really, really excited to sort of actually help to monetize this product. But the hardest part, we were using Google at the time, and they were effectively, running us on a very small scale. And we wanted to build that same infrastructure. We take an understanding of these users, connect that with cutting-edge machine learning, build that at massive scale, and handle billions and then trillions of both predictions and auctions every day in a way which is really robust.
So Elon jumped in and basically was talking about the LiDAR and the mapping, and he said this is a total fool's errand, that it is freaking stupid for cars. It's fine if you're in space where there's nothing driving in front of you, okay? That's fine. He even spearheaded the Crew Dragon attachment to the space station, docking from that way. And he said that in that situation, that was great. But with cars, it's stupid. And the reason it's stupid is because it's not solving the problem of vision. We have to solve the problem of vision. Now that we laid a little bit of groundwork, we need to talk about the ROBOTAXI network. I think people got confused because they thought, okay, Tesla's just going to build all these cars for the ROBOTAXI network. The cars are already being built. They are all the owners. The ROBOTAXI network is the network of all the owners' cars. Any additional cars or extra cars that they produce will also be thrown onto the network, mainly in urban areas. So Elon lays this out, basically saying all the leases are going to come back. He's not going to let people keep the cars after they lease. All the lease cars also come back and go onto the network, as well as everybody's standard cars that they're using for regular driving. They can put those on and off the network. So Elon stated plainly that from your phone app, you can either add your car to the network or remove your car from the network anytime. And also, you can summon a car if you want to ride it on the ROBOTAXI network. Right over your mobile phone. Super simple. It's an easy app, so not a problem. He just made that like the simplest thing on earth. So once again, you add the car to the network. Now, he didn't really talk about it, but he said you can share your car in particular times with friends or coworkers. So there's going to be some sharing regulations based on this. He didn't get into specifics about this because I don't think they know exactly how they're going to lay that plan out. Obviously, you can't have just somebody taking 4 or 5 people in a car and not, accounting for that. So there's going to be some financial elements to that and regulations as far as Tesla policy for who gets to drive for free or not for free. I mean, in that situation, obviously your family and friends and all that. So we'll see how that plays out long term. So basically, the actual RoboTaxi network, when it comes to like say taxis per se, would mainly be in the urban centers. In dense commercial areas where people need rides, like New York or San Francisco, Chicago, whatever. That's where most of the RoboTaxis that Tesla owns are going to be deployed. So Elon breaks down the U.S. average cost of ownership, ride sharing that he pulled from Uber and Lyft, and the average cost to run a RoboTaxi network being right now currently would be 18 cents a mile. So you can see that they would completely dominate. And the reason being is there's no driver, or the driver is the person who comes and gets the taxi. So you don't have to pay for the driver. That's critical in that financial element. Not to mention, it's all electric. So running a RoboTaxi or any taxi network with gasoline makes no sense because they're going to be 5 times cheaper. So of course he goes a little bit into the sales pitch, meaning the Model 3 is a deal. Because the Model 3, if you put it on the RoboTaxi network, he says is going to basically make $200,000 to $300,000 during the price of the car. Well, obviously, if you buy the car for $50,000 and you subtract that money, you're making over a couple $100,000, and that's at 90,000 miles, and half of which he said is not even being used. So Elon basically summed it up. They have the vehicle and battery production, the in-house design hardware, the in-house software development, and massive data collection. This full integration makes the company so powerful. This is all 4 of these things you will not see in a company today besides Tesla. So they have a huge advantage to get this RoboTaxi network up in effect and running by the end of 2020. It latest, I would think, would be early 2021 if he's behind on Elon time. So that basically is the breakdown. So in closing, I'm going to leave you with this last slide because this is the company. If you want to see what Tesla is, don't be looking at pictures of cars. Look at this picture because this is the company. 2 side-by-side Tesla chips that are just monster for computing power. This is what's going to drive their future. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe and make sure to hit the bell notification because that'll update you with anything. Remember, we have the earnings report coming out. The stock is on fire right now. And we have the battery day that's coming up as well. So there's still a lot of good news coming from Tesla. So we'll keep an eye on it and keep you posted all the time. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate all the help. Take care.